A lot of luxury hotels today look less formal than they used to, and yet their room rates never dropped. Some are getting even more expensive. Why would that be? Think about hotels like the Singapore Edition, Nomad London, or Ace Hotel Kyoto. No marble front counter, no rows of liveried staff waiting for you. Instead, a lobby bar people actually linger in, a courtyard, a coffee counter that feels more like a neighborhood hangout than a hotel lobby. And yet, several of these hotels are becoming more commercially successful, gaining stronger market prestige, not less. So what is actually going on? Did five-star hotels just lower their standards to feel more casual? Or is the definition of luxury itself is changing? I'm Helen Tsui. In this video, we're going to look into why this shift is happening, what guest behavior is actually driving it, and what it means for how hotels get designed and positioned going forward. Once you start looking for it, this shift is everywhere. Most new five-star hotels today are no longer trying to feel exclusive, distant, or intimidating. Modern luxury isn't separated from daily life anymore. It steps straight into it. Take the Singapore Edition. Walk through its bronze and glass entrance on Cascaden Road, and you land in a white marbled lobby with a gold-leafed dome ceiling. But the space that actually gets used all day is the lobby bar, sheathed in paint velvet with a rose-colored pool table at its center. People bring laptops there in the morning. They take calls there in the afternoon. By evening, it's full for cocktails. That single space does the job of three: workspace, social space, and bar. And it never once needs to signal formally to justify its five-star rate. Rosewood Hong Kong does something similar with its lobby lounge overlooking the harbour. Designed less like a grand reception and more like a residence you are welcome to sit in for hours. And at one Hotel Mayfair, London, guests check in at a desk made from a 200-year-old trunk that feels natural on an estate in Sussex. No marble counter, no formality, just a piece of raw timber that sets an entire different emotional tone the moment you arrive. None of these hotels feel like traditional luxury hotel. And that's exactly the point. Here is what it gets interesting. These hotels don't show off crystal chandeliers. They don't wrap furniture in shiny bronze detail. Half of the time, there's no grand front desk anymore. And yet, their room rate sits firmly in the premium range, sometimes even beating hotels that still do all of that. Interestingly, this is the part a lot of people can't quite work out just from scrolling hotel photos online when they're booking. These visual cues that used to signal this costs more simply aren't there anymore. So where did the value go? Look at a hotel like the Ritz London or the St. Regis Singapore. Walk into either one and it feels polished, well-mannered, intentionally set apart from ordinary life. Nothing wrong with that. It's just a different value proposition. Traditional luxury built its worth through prestige, formality, flawless ceremony, exclusivity. That was the language of five-star hospitality for decades. Now, put the Singapore Edition next to that. It's not quite in the same room rate tier as Raffles Hotel Singapore or Marina Bay Sands, but it's close enough and closing the gap without a shred of heritage grandeur or high-rise scale behind it. What got it there was the atmosphere. One signature restaurant backed by 4 distinctive bar and social concepts that keep the place genuinely alive from morning coffee through to last call. No grand facade required. But today, that expectation has quietly shifted. Luxury no longer wants to feel distance from everyday life. That's one of the biggest, most understated changes happening in hospitality right now. Modern luxury increasingly wants to feel natural, connected to real life, not stayed above it. Take one Hotel Mayfair in London. Instead of building something new to show off, they kept 8% of the original structure. It used to be a Holiday Inn, and we built around it. Walk into the lobby, and there is a moss-covered chandelier, dry stone wall from Yorkshire, floors made from British oak. That feels natural on Windsor Estate. Nothing there is trying to impress you. Rooms start around £550 a night, so it's still very much 5-star. It just feels more like a well-designed home than a monument. Ace Hotel Kyoto tells the same story a completely different way. The building used to be a 1926 telephone exchange. Inside, there is a long communal wooden table, work from local Japanese craftsmen. A coffee counter that's really more of a neighborhood gathering spot than a hotel amenity. It's not trying to impress you from across the room. It's inviting you to sit down. That's really the emotional shift. Guests don't want to be impressed from a distance anymore. They want to feel comfortable, personally connected, like they actually belong in the space. A very different hospitality language from what luxury used to mean. And this shift didn't happen because designers suddenly got more creative. It happened because guest behavior changed first. People travel more, and work and travel has basically merged. Calls happen from hotel lobbies now. Friends meet up in hotel bars, not just restaurants. So guests pick a hotel based on whether the vibe fits them, whether the space feels relaxing, whether it connects to the local culture, not whether the lobby has chandelier and marble anymore. We are all a bit drowned in visual information these days, so people care more about how a place feels in the moment than how formal it looks walking in. That's the real behavior shift. And the hotels that pick up on it early, like the Edition, Ace, One Hotels, built their whole identity around it instead of bolting it on later. This actually matters a lot if you're on the design or operation side. The brief has quietly changed. A lobby isn't just an arrival sequence anymore. It has to work as a workspace, a bar, and a social venue, sometimes all within the same hour. That's a completely different design and staffing problem than what traditional 5-star hotels were built to solve. To me, this is the biggest underlying change happening in hospitality right now. Luxury today isn't really about signaling status for the interior anymore. It's about creating an experience guests actually feels connected to. And that doesn't make it weaker or cheaper. It just makes it more personal, more immersive, more tied to who the guest actually is. You feel it in the softer lighting, the residential style furniture, the relaxed lounge seating, the cafe culture, the wellness programming. The hotel stops behaving like a formal institution and starts behaving like a lifestyle you choose to step into. Modern luxury increasingly wants to feel more natural and more connected to real life. Well, worth remembering this line for a second, because it explains almost everything else in this shift. This is also why lifestyle hotels feel trendy, culturally current right now. Look at how Ace Hotel Kyoto built its food and beverage program. They brought in Kyoto's first Stumptown coffee roasters. First one in Japan, actually. Then 3 restaurant concepts, each with its own well-known chef. Mr. Morris's Italian, a wood-fire rooftop osteria from Philadelphia, Chef Mark Fertri. Casa, a farm-to-table restaurant now led by Chef Katie Cole. There's even a basement art house cinema, showing classic Japanese film. None of that is really about selling rooms. It's about giving people 5 different reasons to walk in the door, even if they're never staying for the night. And that's what actually built the neighborhood identity, which is what makes a hotel feel relevant, not just available. One Hotel Mayfair does something similar through sustainability, reclaimed materials, a 2 Michelin star restaurant sourcing from British farms, a cocktail bar built around a zero waste menu. Guests aren't just booking a bed there. They are buying into a set of values they want attached to their stay. So more and more, people choose hotels the way they choose restaurants, or fashion brands, or neighborhoods, based on identity fit, not just amenities. Food culture, wellness, local energy, social atmosphere, All of it together is what we now call lifestyle hospitality. And just so we're clear, none of this is cheaper to build or run. Multiple F&B concepts, each with its own chef, its own identity, its own supply chain, that's more operationally complex than a single hotel restaurant. The casual feeling guests get on the surface usually means there is more coordination happening underneath it, not less. So back to the original question, does lifestyle hotel means lower-end hospitality? Clearly not. What's actually happening is hospitality is becoming more personal, more reachable, and more woven into everyday's life, without giving up an inch of its premium position. Modern luxury increasingly want to feel more natural and more connected to real life. That's probably one of the most significant shifts happening in hospitality globally right now. And here is what the really interesting part. Hotels like Edition, Ace, and One Hotels aren't competing on room products or prestige anymore. They're competing on vibe, identity, and lifestyle relevance. And guests are happily paying premium rates for exactly that. Once hotels stop trying to separate themselves from everyday life, something else starts shifting too. The spaces themselves. Lounges turn into workspace. Cafes turn into social hubs. Lobbies stopped being somewhere you just pass through and became somewhere you actually go. So here's the next question worth asking. Why are hotel spaces themselves becoming so much less formally defined now? That's exactly what I'm getting into in the next video. I'm Helen Tsui. This is Hotel Story Asia.